I woke up this morning, took a deep breath, and said to myself, you know what? I'm not ready to throw in the towel. Not yet. And I'm here to tell you exactly why the Chicago Bears season isn't over. At least, not if they take the next few weeks seriously. Now I get it. The mood is heavy. The air around Hallis Hall is thick. 2 games in, 2 losses, and a whole lot of frustration. But I refuse to believe this thing is cooked already. That's the easy take. That's the lazy narrative. And sure, if the Bears drop a couple more, we might have to start having uncomfortable conversations. But as of right now, the door isn't closed. Let's zoom out for a second. Look around the NFC North. You got Detroit and Green Bay sitting on top, sure. But then you've got Minnesota and Chicago, and I don't care what anyone says, those 2 teams are closer than people realize. The Bears had Minnesota right where they wanted them in Week 1, and let it slip. And the Vikings? They haven't looked like world beaters either. That's a team the Bears can beat. And I mean that literally, they should beat them, which is part of what makes that Week 1 loss sting so bad. It's not just that you lost, it's who you lost to. And how. Now look, if the Bears go on a mini run, and we get to Week 13 or 14, and that opening week heartbreaker ends up being the reason they miss the playoffs or a shot at a wild card. Yeah, that's going to hurt. No way around that. But it also means they'll have been competitive the rest of the way. And honestly, that alone would be progress. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. We're not there yet. Right now, it's about what's in front of them. And it starts with Dallas. Everything, and I mean everything, depends on what this team does in the next 2 games. You've got the Cowboys coming up, then the Raiders, and then you get a bye week. That's your reset window. That's your shot to stop the bleeding and regroup. If you somehow come out of that stretch 2-2, season's not just alive, it's got a pulse and maybe even a little swagger. But it starts Sunday. You have to beat the Cowboys. No excuses. And yes, that sounds like a tall order, but hear me out. This is not the same dominant Dallas defense we saw flashes of last season. There are holes. And yes, Caleb Williams is still getting his feet under him. No one's expecting 400 yards and fireworks. But Russell Wilson, who most people had written off, just lit that defense up for over 450 yards and 3 touchdowns. At Soldier Field, with the wind, the grass, the cold, this isn't Jerry World. This is different. And if Caleb can settle in, if the O-line gives him a little time, there's no reason this team can't score points. And let me just say this flat out. If Matt Eberflus walks into Soldier Field and walks out with a win, I'm not sure how we come back from that. That would be a nightmare. You fire that guy. You send him packing. If you let him outcoach you, if you let him walk away with a win, that is rock bottom. And I don't say that lightly. I don't have anything personal against Eberflus. I really don't. But you can't talk about wanting change, demanding a new culture, bringing in a new voice, and then lose to the guy you just fired. That cannot happen. So this week, inside that locker room, I hope they're locked in. I hope they're circling this game. Not because it's personal, because it's essential. You want to reset the narrative? You want to quiet the noise? Beat Dallas. Beat Eberflus. Show the league you're not folding after 2 games. And speaking of noise, let's talk about this defense because, wow. I mean, how do you even start cleaning that up? 73 points allowed in the last 5 quarters. That's not just bad. That's collapse-level bad. And it's not like you're getting shredded by elite quarterback play either. J.J. McCarthy had one solid quarter, and it was enough to bury you. That tells me this defense doesn't know how to hold its ground. There's no resistance, no identity, no fight. Now look, I understand. You're banged up. Jalen Johnson re-injured his groin, and there's no way he plays again before the bye. TJ Edwards tweaked that hamstring again. Probably the same story there. Kyler Gordon? Still dealing with his own hamstring issue. That's 3 of your top defenders. It's brutal. And yeah, no one's blaming Dennis Allen for injuries. But even so, you got to find some kind of answer. You can't just roll over every week and let teams hang 30 or 40 on you. And honestly, the pass rush has been MIA. Nowhere to be found. We were told Dio Enbo could be a difference maker. Where's he been? Montez Sweat is making over $20 million a year. For what? He had 1 sack taken away by a penalty. But outside of that, he's just not making his presence felt. And when you've got a depleted secondary and no pressure up front, that's a recipe for disaster. So, What do you do if you're Dennis Allen? Maybe it's time to start getting aggressive. Start bringing blitzes, force some turnovers, take some chances. Because sitting back in soft zones isn't working at all. You're getting gashed. You're getting exposed. You have to try something different. Throw the kitchen sink if you have to. And it's not just the defense. Offensively, man, I don't even know where to begin. You've got a quarterback who's flashing signs of growth, but you're not helping him out. The penalties, dear God, the penalties are absolutely killing you. 20 flags in 2 games. That's bottom-tier stuff. You're not the Kansas City Chiefs. You don't have the luxury of beating yourselves and still pulling out wins. Every mistake matters. Every yard lost is a mile in a close game. I mean, how many times can you shoot yourself in the foot before someone says enough? False starts, hold, chop blocks. It's endless. The one that killed me? First play of the second half, DeAndre Swift false starts. A running back. A false start from the backfield. That's the kind of stuff that drives coaches insane. You had all halftime to discuss that first play. And then that? Come on. Twice yesterday, they had 2nd and 30. How do you expect to win like that? You're basically handing the ball back. And again, this offense is showing some progress, but it's not explosive enough to overcome that kind of dysfunction. Not yet. Now, I know some people are already calling for Tyson Bagent. Let's slow down. Caleb is your guy. He made some mistakes, sure. That pick was bad. He's got to throw that away. But outside of that, I actually like what I saw. He was 14 of 19 in the second half. He was getting into rhythm. And if you look at the advanced analytics, the one bright spot from this game, the passing game, that was it. Everything else was a disaster, but at least that part gave you a sliver of hope. The issue is, he's not ready to carry this whole team. You can't just drop back 50 times and expect to win games right now. That's why they need to commit to the run. Even if it's not working, even if it's ugly, you have to establish something on the ground. If you're going to lean on your rookie quarterback, then at least give him a reliable running game to take some pressure off. And I don't want to hear excuses about the game script. Yes, things got out of hand, but that doesn't mean you abandon the run entirely. Kyle Monangai had 8 carries, all in garbage time. Get him some meaningful touches. You got to give him a shot. DeAndre Swift is fine. He's not bad. He's not elite either. He's not your bell cow. He's a piece, not the entire engine. That's why Philly moved off of him even after a 1,000-yard season. They weren't sold. Neither should we be. He's part of the puzzle, but he can't be the whole thing. If this defense is going to keep struggling, and with these injuries, let's be honest, that's likely, then you have to control the clock. You have to shorten the game. Keep a defense off the field. That means committing to the run, even when it doesn't look pretty on paper. Right now, the Bears are bottom tier in efficiency per carry. 26% success rate. That's not going to cut it. But again, that doesn't mean you stop trying. The Bears are hanging on by a thread, and what they do this week is going to determine everything. Every team reaches a point in the season where it either breaks or it bends. This could be that moment. Because if they can't show urgency now, if they can't look at everything that went wrong and respond with grit and focus, then what's the point? You lose to Dallas, and the math starts getting ugly. Teams that go 0 and 3 don't make the playoffs. Not unless there's some kind of anomaly. And yeah, technically you've got 17 games, but when you dig yourself a hole that deep, you don't just need to be good. You have to be nearly perfect from that point forward. And let's be honest, this team hasn't shown it's capable of that yet. Not even close. But this is the NFL. Crazy things happen every week. Teams flip the script, turn losing streaks into momentum runs. And if you want to be one of those stories, you have to do it now. Because the longer you wait, the harder it gets to pull yourself out. This isn't college football, where one loss sends your season into a tailspin. But when you're a young and proven team, confidence matters. Mentality matters. Right now, the Bears don't know how to win. And that's a problem. You could feel it in that week 1 collapse. Up by 2 possessions, controlling the game, and then suddenly they couldn't finish. They couldn't shut the door. Minnesota was begging to be buried. And instead, Chicago let them hang around just long enough to believe. And in this league, if you don't finish teams, they will come back and bury you. That's what happened. And now that missed opportunity is haunting everything else. What's frustrating is that the Bears weren't completely overmatched in either of these 2 games. They beat themselves. They left points on the field. They committed dumb penalties. They gave up explosive plays at the worst moments. And even with that, even with all the self-inflicted wounds, you can still see the outline of a team that could be better than the record shows. That's the hardest part, because being bad is one thing. Being inconsistent and undisciplined is worse. It means the talent is there. It just isn't being unlocked. That's where the coaching staff comes in. They have to take accountability too. This isn't just on the players. This is a team that looks lost in key moments. The game plans haven't adjusted fast enough. The situational awareness isn't where it needs to be. And while I'm not calling for heads right now, I am saying this. At some point, someone has to take control. Someone has to pull this group together and say enough is enough. You're in the NFL. Nobody is going to feel sorry for you. Look at the penalties again, 20 in 2 games. That doesn't happen by accident. That's a focus issue. That's poor discipline. That's sloppy coaching. Those mistakes come from a team that's either mentally checked out or not being held accountable during the week. And the most frustrating thing? These aren't exotic schemes beating them. It's not like they're facing a gauntlet of Super Bowl contenders and getting outclassed on every snap. It's simple football, and they're failing at the basics. The thing is, if you just clean up half of those penalties, if you cut down the mental errors, you're in both of these games. You're possibly 1-1 right now. You're not hearing people call the season over in week 2. That's how close the margin is. And again, that's why this week is everything. Caleb Williams is showing signs of development. He really is. You can nitpick his stat lines, you can highlight the interception, but if you actually watch the tape, he's starting to get more comfortable. He's seeing the field better. The footwork's improving. He's making throws under pressure. He's not perfect, far from it, but he's trending in the right direction. And for a rookie quarterback, that's exactly what you want to see. He doesn't look overwhelmed. He's battling. He's learning. But he needs help. He needs play calling that puts him in rhythm early. He needs a ground game that can give him 2nd and 6 instead of 2nd and 13. He needs receivers that get separation and hold onto the football. He needs an offensive line that doesn't put him behind the sticks every other drive with holding calls and false starts. And for God's sake, he needs to be protected. If this kid gets sacked 5 or 6 times a game, he's not going to make it to the bye week in one piece. You spent the number 1 pick on a potential franchise quarterback. You better treat him like one. Let him build confidence. Give him a clean pocket once in a while. Let him take a breath and see the whole field. Because what he's shown already, that's a foundation. But if you let him get buried in bad habits and broken protection, that development could stall quickly. That's why the run game matters so much. Not just to control the clock, but to protect your quarterback, to set the tone, to be physical. And right now, the Bears aren't doing any of that consistently. They're soft in the trenches. The numbers tell you that. The film confirms it. There's no push, no rhythm, just a couple of hopeful carries and then back to desperation mode. That's not going to work. And yeah, the injuries are part of this. No one's ignoring that. But at some point, depth has to step up. You can't just fall apart because a few starters go down. That's the job of the front office. Build a roster that can handle adversity. Because you will get banged up in this league. It's not an if, it's a guarantee. And when that happens, your backups better be ready to contribute. So far, that hasn't happened either. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Chicago Bears. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In what is quickly becoming the NFL's most shocking twist of the season, whispers are swirling around the league following the unexpected announcement that the upcoming game between the Detroit Lions and Chicago Bears has been officially canceled. While official statements from the league are sparse, insiders suggest that the decision may stem from a combination of logistical hurdles and behind-the-scenes tensions that no fan could have predicted. Fans of both teams were bracing for what was expected to be a fiercely competitive showdown, especially given the Lions' current offensive momentum and the Bears' reputation for defensive resilience. Speculation is now running wild on social media, with theories ranging from sudden health concerns within one of the squads to disputes over stadium availability or even broader league controversies. Some anonymous sources hint that this cancellation might not be an isolated incident, but could signal deeper scheduling issues that the NFL has been quietly grappling with. In Detroit, loyal supporters are reacting with disbelief and frustration, taking to forums and Twitter to voice their disappointment. "We've been waiting all season for this game, and now we're just left hanging," tweeted one fan, capturing the sentiment of thousands. Meanwhile, Bears fans in Chicago are equally rattled, with local sports bars reportedly reconsidering plans to host viewing parties. The sudden void in the NFL schedule has also left analysts questioning what this might mean for playoff implications, player morale, and potential rescheduling logistics later in the season. As the rumor mill churns, speculation about a potential behind-closed-doors resolution is heating up. Could there be negotiations underway that might allow the game to be played at a later date? Or is the cancellation a harbinger of something more significant, hinting at undisclosed internal conflicts within the league? Some sports journalists suggest that the announcement could even be a strategic move, a way for the NFL to test fan reactions and adjust their operations for future high-stakes matchups. For now, both teams remain tight-lipped, and the league has refused to comment beyond the official notice. But one thing is certain: the Lions versus Bears game will go down in NFL lore. Not for the plays on the field, but for the buzz, mystery, and rumors that continue to ignite conversations across the sports world. Fans will be watching closely for any updates, ready to pounce on even the tiniest hint of resolution, as this unexpected cancellation continues to dominate headlines. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Chicago Bears, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.